you had to, would you rather f your mom or your dad? If you had to answer that.
If you really had to.
Oh my god.
Welcome back to another amazing episode of Careful Boys. Today we have Jessie Ma.
Oh!
Hard-hitting question of the day. How would things be different if your partner was the same ethnicity as you?
Oh, I think I would hate it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something.
I don't know, actually.
I wouldn't know because I never had a serious relationship with a Japanese girl.
Why? You're against it?
No.
Kimiko.
No.
That's the
No
problem.
no proximity.
You never had Japanese people around you?
They're ugly.
Yeah, dude.
Nah, just kidding. I did. Okay, remember in the school we went to in junior high, right?
Yeah, there's tons of Japanese.
There was a girl I was like had a crush on. She liked me back, right? And then right when we were starting to talk or whatever, she was so fucking shy that her friends would do the whole pushing her to come talk to me, and then she would just run away as soon as we're like fucking right about 1 feet away. She would run away, and I had a Mac. She was very pretty. I wanted to talk to her, and then I got kicked out of that junior high, so I didn't lost love right there. Yeah,
There it is.
sometimes I think about her.
So that's the closest it could have been.
Well, no, that was the closest time I dated a Japanese girl.
What do you think a marriage would be like if you were in a Japanese marriage? Like you and her 100% Japanese.
Well, I mean, it's hard to determine personality, but I bet that culturally it would be so much easier because they could. I'm assuming she can speak Japanese, right? Because there are a lot of Japanese Americans that can't fucking speak Japanese. But I'm assuming the one that I get with can speak, so they can talk to my parents. Even though my parents can speak English, it's not that good. So then they could have a more meaningful relationship, deeper conversations. We could probably continue teaching our kids Japanese if we get married and stuff like that too. And then so culturally it might be easier. There's just a lot of things that are just unspoken and it's just like,
That's true.
it's there.
Yeah.
There's just things that you don't have to like teach each other, you know? Yeah.
Take your shoes off before you get in the house.
Yeah.
That is true.
Easy.
I feel like that dynamic makes me uncomfortable.
Because it's too familiar?
It's too close. It makes me feel paternal. It makes me feel like this is like a family member, which I know is incorrect.
For me, it was like, I think that's why I actually have never dated my exact ethnicity and culture because it didn't feel interesting. I think because of that. But now, being almost 40, I'm like, I could totally see if I were to marry though, it does make things way smoother and easier.
More streamlined.
Yeah, because it's like we're on the same page, like almost 50% already. Now the other 50% is just your personality.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, we got to get on the same page starting at 0 and build like everything. Because like culturally, like we already know, like like some Asians they bow or some do whatever, or some you have to hold with 2 hands, or like there's like all these things.
Right.
I actually think it'll be harder for me if she was from Japan.
Harder.
What about Japanese American like you?
That would be the same culture because I don't consider them the same culture. So it'll be like dating my parents because like it'll be so like it'll be, you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's like dream, right?
Because there'll be a culture clash there. Because there's an American aspect to it that they're not used to.
That is true. Yeah.
But I do think in general it should be easier because there are like just in the multicultural relationships that there's more things you have to kind of discuss and friction because just the way you do shit is so different, and there'll be culture shock.
But what I do like about my relationship now, because we're interracial, it almost creates like this bullshit filter, like force field. Because like my parents, to me, I felt like were really toxic. And if my wife was exactly my ethnicity, there's no stopping that. That's being passed on. They're gonna talk to her the way they talk to me. They're gonna demand the same things. Like give me your fucking keys to your car in your house or whatever. Like I own you or my property too because you're an extension of my son.
Oh yeah.
And then
Because they can't communicate to her.
there's like a bullshit thing. And then on the flip side, Gio's family's not toxic. But what's cool is because I'm something else, there was almost like a fucking Pocahontas, John Smith, like we had to like earn each other's like rapport every single step of the way. You know, like you want food, I I play music, yeah, flute music, and then we were like, and then we kind of,
You want King Taco?
yeah, and we slowly built it from scratch.
Yeah.
You know, versus like if I met like a Taiwanese parents, like, oh, I'm Bart, I like to do whatever. I don't care. You go to Harvard, you know? And they're like, no, I didn't go to Harvard. Oh, ew, get out of here, man.
Yeah. She throws up.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
There is the foreigner pass, because then when your parents are like, oh shit, I don't know this culture, they're on their best behavior.
And they have to really get to know you for you, and you get to know them for them, rather than all these like screening through the culture.
Yeah. Because when they're too comfortable, then they know the script.
Yeah.
And they can judge you or whatever. But if it's a brand new culture, they're probably nervous about if they're breaking any cultural rules, you know?
Did you ever date a Korean guy?
I didn't. And
Never.
it's
Oh wow.
because of like kind of similar to what you were saying. Like my parents don't have a healthy relationship and we didn't have like a healthy family growing up. So my worst nightmare is marrying my dad and becoming my mom. And a lot of those like very stereotypical toxic Korean man traits. I'm like, oh yeah, never.
What are some of the top 3?
Violent, like
That is
angry.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, rage, K-rage.
Yeah.
Rage filled.
Motherfucker.
That's true. I've seen it.
Damn. Yeah. So you've never even been attracted?
No.
Whoa, that's remarkable.
And then like if you had like a Korean
I don't even like BTS. I'm not even like physically attracted.
You know like this?
I do, but like not like those guys.
But if you brought like a Korean boyfriend home, like it would just, there's no like force field, right? It'd be like your parents would just, like
That's a really
you
good
just
point.
assume,
That's a
assume
really good
Koreanism
point.
in this.
yes, yeah.
My
Yeah.
mind totally slipped that whole thing that you painted. Like, yeah, my parents would talk to, if I had a Filipino wife or girlfriend, they would speak to her with familiarity that.
Because even my mom is like very like, she thinks she's gentle and she's like very nice and she goes with everything, but her judgment and her like ideals are very like strong. So I remember it being in college, like all of my friends were over in the living room and they're just like, we're just all watching TV, been hanging out for a few hours, so you know, just chilling. And then my mom expects like if an elder walks in the room, everyone stands up.
Yeah.
Like, hi, Mr. House, like that's what she expects, you know?
Yeah.
So she comes in, and because everyone's Asian, like she's like this, she goes, Bart, can I come talk to you for a little bit? And I'm like, oh, sure. And then she would like tell me like, are your friends all savages? They don't know the language?
Oh, fuck.
Come, the feed is on the table. Are they villagers? Are they refugees or something? And then like, I'm like, no, we're fucking American watching TV, goddammit. You know, so like, and that's already like, so if my wife could speak Chinese and she could directly communicate in Chinese,
That's some real toxicity, bro.
Yeah.
That's what's funny to me, because like when people see Asians dating Asians, right? They go like, oh, that they're dating their own kind. But in reality, to me, going outside of Japanese is already interracial or like mixed relationship, because there's I don't know, it's hard to like, it's not even common in Asia to be dating cross country.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So like that's already a big deal. So then going beyond that and then like dating black, white, Mexican, whatever, right? To me, that's not that different from dating a Vietnamese. Because the language is different, the religion is different. The only thing that might tie us together is like certain things like Confucianism, and the philosophy might be same. So there's like that unspoken rule that maybe within the Asian community, it's gonna be closer than dating someone who's like Spanish or whatever, right? But still, it doesn't feel as homey. It still feels foreign. So then, but maybe it's because in the U.S. it's like there's so many generations of like white or black or whatever that they don't really see that difference in they just see Asian as Asian.
Even in Chinese is like that. So my mom's Taiwanese and my dad's Cantonese, and the way my mom views my dad, it's like us Taiwanese, we flew here. Your daddy float here. He float, open the container. Oh, sunlight. It's different. But in the like polite Asian way, you know?
How about for you having a Filipino wife?
So if she was white,
Yeah.
I mean, I never, I don't know, because it's like,
Well, she's halfway there.
she's halfway there, but she doesn't look it. So it's like, I guess I'd be more sexually attracted to her if she was white. Because then it reminds me more of my sister. But
It's more culturally appropriate.
yeah, my sister's really hot.
Smoke show.
So that would help.
You
probably.
did kind of go against your culture though by not marrying your
know.
family member.
I know. Tell me about it. So we'll see what happens there.
He's so defiant, dude.
Good job for breaking the chain.
I know.
He didn't want to do it, but he had to do it.
That's why my family didn't show up at the wedding.
I know.
But is she more culturally Filipino or culturally white?
Her family is the most Americanized group of Filipinos I've ever met. Like they had the fucking American flag outside because the dad was in the Navy, right? And so it's just like everybody came here and assimilated. Nikki's grandma was very much like, I want the kids to learn English so that they get integrated really easily, and it's just very much like that. And she was basically, when I first met her, I couldn't understand a fucking word she was saying. Like Nikki's grandma, total Filipino grandma, who came here from the Philippines, right? But then, as time went on, I can now completely understand her. But it took fucking a decade, bro. Or it took I probably got it around 6 years in.
Like you could actually understand the words, or you could understand what she's trying to communicate.
I couldn't understand even if she was in my fucking ear. Right? I'm like, I don't even know what she said.
You're just like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, yeah. Sick. She could be saying your ancestors are fucking assholes, piece of shit. Oh, I hope that you guys can't have a kid, or if you do, he's retarded or something, right? But then I'm like, that's so sick. Oh my god, sick. I like you a lot. Yay, accept me. That's literally how it was for a while. But now it's different. So, but then she's also just got Alzheimer's, so it sucks because I just got to talking with her. And, yeah, it's on the way out.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Maybe she always did. You just didn't realize.
I would have no idea.
Yeah.
Genuinely no clue.
She never did. What about for Tiff? She's Salvadorian, right?
And did you
you
date anyone for your short freshman year? That was it.
This one girl I was talking to for a little bit, before I started dating Tiff, she was also Salvadorian, but she was half Persian.
Oh, that's
Which was
interesting.
That sounds highly exotic.
It was weird.
Nice.
I hated it.
Okay.
I didn't like the mix. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I didn't really grow up around a lot of East Asian girls, East Asian American girls. It's there wasn't really.
Would you culturally be technically Singaporean Chinese?
I don't even know what the hell I'd be, honestly.
Really?
If I'm being real.
Or Taiwanese?
Well, what your dad's?
Because when my dad immigrated here, he assimilated really quickly. Because he came here when he was 9 or 10 from Taiwan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he was getting bullied a lot, so he just when people talk to him on the phone, they think he's either a white dude or a black guy on the phone. He's like.
What about when you guys eat as a family? Is elders gotta get the food first, or do you have any of those?
We're
rules,
it's so inconsistent across the board. So much of what we do is very American. So much of what we do is very Chinese, but there's no consistency. There's no every Chinese New Year is different. You know what I mean?
Okay. It's all kind of freestyle. then.
It's all freestyle. Well, it's usually for a while we go to see our grandmas, right? And then as we got older and as things changed, we're all scattered. We don't really do stuff. It's just kind of it's more of an afterthought than some Chinese.
You gotta
families.
stick to this tradition.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So everything's all over the place. So it's kind of our own rules. So with that, man, I think no matter what kind of girl I would date, that's not how we grew up, it would be completely different. And I think no matter what, I think I am drawn to the difference in cultures. Because I do like learning about other people's cultures. I love trying to, just shooting the shit about it.
So on Tiff's side, do they practice cultural things a lot stronger than you guys do?
Definitely. Yeah.
And you're drawn to that.
Yeah, that was a change. Having.
What do they do? They paint the skulls during Mexican Halloween.
But for instance, how they gather with family is so different than how we gather with family. Right?
Everyone's drunk.
Yeah. And they have they do it every fucking weekend. The frequency of how they would get together and hang out was this is tight. You guys do this all the time? All right, cool. And just how they communicate with each other. How it's Chinese people are hella critical and everything. You know, like when I go hang with their family, it's just like not
chill?
much judgment. You know what I mean?
That's hard to imagine.
And yeah, no, and that was like weird for me. And it took me years to figure out like I don't know why I like hanging with your family so much. They're just so chill. And then now that and then I hang out with my family a little bit. And then like sometimes there's always talking shit about something, and I'm like, all right, bro. And then you realize like, oh yeah, that's what it was.
Right.
You know? But I don't think it'd be. Yeah, I don't know if it would be different.
Could you even imagine?
I couldn't even imagine. Like if I dated, like kind of what Joe said, like if he dated someone that was from Japan, or if I dated someone that was East Asian American,
Or if it was just the same as you, like same style upbringing, same style family, just times 2 now.
of course, I think it would be easier to like communicate certain things. Like there's certain.
But someone that celebrated Chinese New Year like every other year.
Yeah, or just certain unspoken things that I don't even think about. Like sometimes I'm like, why is that weird for me to explain this to you? And then, like for instance, like certain family gatherings, like how we gather, certain rules, like unspoken rules that I wouldn't have to explain. But then again, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, like it isn't big of a deal. It could make things easier, but it's just like, all right, you got to work through it anyway, regardless. You guys are like, that's how I kind of see it, right? Like, I'm already with this lady, with my wife, so it's like, either we figure out how to deal with this, or we just complain about it.
Like one thing I've had to explain to Smack a lot was that when Filipino parents are giving you stuff, like for some reason, anytime we see my parents, they just have crap loads of just stuff, and they're just like, take this. And in the beginning, like Smack would be like, "Oh, it's okay, I don't need." Like the polite thing would be, "Oh no, it's okay." But that's actually not polite.
Yeah.
The polite thing is to take everything and act like that's exactly what you needed.
For real.
Oh.
Like growing up, right? Like kids, my mom would always like be mad about like having to serve other people at the house. Like at least it was more about how she didn't like my dad's friends more than anything.
Oh, okay.
But she'd be like, I have to fucking cook him dinner. Like what the fuck? Like who is this fucking guy? Yeah. So in my head growing up,
Tell Hannah to stop coming over.
yeah,
man.
going to other people's houses and them offering you food, you always say no because you don't want to be a burden, right?
Right,
Like that was in my head. But then I go to Tiff's family's house.
Ooh, that's bad.
And then they're like, "Hey, eat some food." I'm like, "No, it's okay, it's okay."
Ooh.
But then they go, you're not gonna take my food?"
What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah. And then
Fucking weird Chino.
she had to pull me to the side, and deep down I'm like, "Yeah, I want to eat that shit. I want to eat all of it. I want to eat all of it."
But you
then
don't want to be in trouble.
I think in my head, and it's like,
Other way around. Yeah.
Exactly.
With your boyfriend's like Colombian family, is there anything like super different?
They're very Americanized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What would a Colombian American family like be like? It's just straight up like a regular American family. They just look cooler. Yeah.
Because
cool.
They just talk about sports all day or something.
Stuff like that.
No, well, his stepdad's white, and his mom. They
Talk
were,
about
like,
politics and sports.
Yeah. That Tucker Carlson. They say stuff like that.
Just like like normal things. They're not very cultural.
Oh, you just mentioned that he's adopted. So that's
No.
Oh, okay. No, because I heard adopted. I was like, oh, so he's culturally Colombian or like ethnically Colombian, but he's Americanized because his parents adopted him. But it's not what I heard, right? Okay.
Well, that's like what happened to me because like I got, they do the warning thing when you're coming into the family, like, oh, wait till you see the Filipino side, and I'm like, backyard barbecues are fucking crazy, guys. You guys are blowing my fucking mind over here, dude.
It's like you replace potato chips with egg rolls. Like there's nothing really that.
But they still have potato chips too, so it's like.
But that's
it's
also
fantastic.
another cool thing about dating, like, or just being with, someone that's of a different culture. You kind of see how many fucking similarities there are too. And I think that class probably ties people way closer than culture and ethnicity. Because, like, there are a lot of Asian kids that grew up hella wealthy that I just don't have any common things with. And even the way they operate, like, they fucking piss me off. But, like, there's a lot of people out there that grew up exactly like me, and then they're, white, black, whatever. And then we're, like, some of the closest friends because we just have so many of those shared memories. And like if you grew up eating a fucking square ass pizza for lunch at school and you know what I'm talking about, like you have those similar memories of everything, like you share that space together. And I think that isn't spoken of enough because
Yeah, class is kind of the easier way to unite with people for sure.
And I think like vibes and personality types, right? Like so like I met Hannah's family, and then her brother and dad are similar to me and how I think. And then her two little brothers are similar to my nephews that we live with in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And then so for her, she felt like home in my dynamic because it's so close to the vibes of her family.
Right.
And then her parents are as chill as my parents. You know, they don't really fuss about a lot of things. And I mean, they were both cool with us not having a wedding or buying rings and doing a lot of
Sick.
formal shit. And when they met, it was chill. And I think the only difference was the language barrier. So I think like that's really important too, is like your immediate home's vibe and upbringing and like how familiar that is with the partner. And it's kind of Freudian, right? Because it's like, oh, you want to fuck your parents. But if you have someone who reminds you of your family and that dynamic is there, it makes sense. Yeah.
People gravitate towards what they know,
Yeah.
what feels familiar.
For sure.
You want to fuck your dad?
Yep. Hardcore.
Would you,
I am gravitating to what I know.
if you had to, would you rather fuck your mom or your dad? If you had to answer that
If
question.
you really had to.
Oh my god.
It's a very tough question, but
It's a toughie. We know it's tough, but we ask hard-hitting questions here.
We're not afraid to pull any punches.
What about you? Your sister?
Oh, that's my number one. That's my dream. That's my dream chick.